Sober Witch Life. I'm super excited that you've decided to, I don't know, maybe you're watching this on YouTube because we do stream this on YouTube. Maybe you're listening to this on a podcast. Either way, I'm incredibly excited that you've decided to take a listen. By the way, I'm being compelled to say this. Do you know that I also have a radio show? I do. The podcast, we just chat. I just talk to you. But the radio show, I get to play music, which is amazing. But that's not why I'm here to talk to you today. I am here to share with you this amazing, launch. I have decided to launch the Sober Witch Life merchandise store this month. I originally was going to wait until the end of the year when I had a little bit more time. But Spirit just really compelled me and said, now's the time. It's National Recovery Month. And so we're going to make this happen. So I am going to, I've started to write about this and I'm going to share a little bit of this story, right? Every single September, here in the US, it's National Recovery Month. And so it really has me pause, has me stop, has me reflect. And it's kind of incredible sometimes what Spirit actually has me do. I mean, I have some of my best, images, designs, things like that have come out. Some of my best kind of conversations. I've even had a couple of old videos from last year show up again and seen how moved I was, right? This month is here for all of us to celebrate the millions of folks that are living in recovery and to remember all of the individuals that we've lost. And to say out loud that healing is not just possible, but it's this really incredibly sacred and spiritual act that we were able to do. And so, yeah, I was really excited when this year Spirit kind of said, hey, I think we're going to pull up the timeline on what you were thinking. Now, that meant a lot of work. I was very grateful that I had a number of the designs already created, but I had to create a couple of more. I had to tweak, I had to adjust, I had to set up all the technology. But I'm grateful for it. I think it's a good time. And, some folks may see this, right? And I'll just give you an example. Like, this is one of the t-shirts. I've actually had this one for a long time, but I've kind of rebranded it to align because this was a saying, for those of you that can't see this on, you're not on YouTube, from on a podcast, it says, F the shoulds. Because in my first year in recovery, that became a really, really big practice for me. Like, F all these shoulds, right? Because once you should all over yourself, it leads to guilt, it leads to shame. And so I said, F it. And so this became a really huge sentiment in my first year in recovery. And so I actually created this saying all the way back then. And I know some people might just see these things as just the t-shirts, as the sweatshirts. This is another design. It's like, it says Psycat as F. And you just may like, that's cool. But for me, this is so much more. Every single thing that I have created, I enjoy it. I actually all of the designs were created by me. But they all carry this spirit of rebellion, of recovery, of witchcraft. And they're not just things to wear. I look at these as like statements, talismans, sigils, like these proclamations, right? And so when I put on a t-shirt that says F the shoulds, right? That's what I'm thinking here today. That's like, it's a constant reminder, especially when people see it. I remember, so I had these t-shirts printed for the first time. I just did a small run of like 25 t-shirts and sold them at a couple of shows. And I had like 3 or 4 of them left over. And I actually have like two still in the house, but I also ran a whole lot of stickers, right? So I have a whole bunch of like these beautiful silver stickers that say it. And I remember like 2 years after I sold these t-shirts, somebody showed up at one of my shows and said, oh my God, this sticker. Yeah, that's like my favorite t-shirt. And I looked at him, I was like, "You bought a t-shirt?" She's like, "Oh my God, I love it." Right? She loved it because of what it said and what it meant. Right? So when I put on any of these shirts, I'm not just dressing myself, right? When I pick up, we'll have some mugs. I've got one on the way right now. Um, I'm not just dressing myself. I'm not just like drinking a cup of coffee or drinking a cup of tea. I'm declaring my survival. Like I am proclaiming I'm sober, I'm a witch, and I am absolutely 100% fucking proud of both. And this really matters in a world that stigmatizes both sobriety as well as witchcraft. There are some people that thought I was really fucking crazy when I went ahead and put these two together, right? There's a lot of folks that focus on recovery. There's a lot of folks that focus on witchcraft. There's only a handful of us that are out there that focus on combining the two. So I wanted to give my community, other witches in recovery, something they could wear that felt like armor, like truth, like this flag that we can raise together. This like, I get you, right? I got it. I understand, right? That and I wish I had it. I will certainly, there'll be, once I get these things in and stuff, I'll share more of the designs and everything. Um, but the sober witch for life is probably the one closest to my heart, right? It's incredibly bold, it's incredibly eccentric. It kind of reflects a little bit of the design of the book cover. Um, and it's this statement that recovery is not just a temporary thing. It's not just a phase in my life. This is like a lifelong covenant that I have with myself. And pairing this covenant of recovery with this identity of being a witch feels so much more powerful to me. And then, of course, there's this one, right? The psychat as as fuck, right? And it's I laughed at myself so hard. I remember this was probably around Christmas time that I did this design about, I don't know, the fuck the shoulds is probably 4 years ago. So this would have been like 3 years ago. This was the second sticker that, design that I'd ever done. And I kept trying to figure out a way to just include the image of the cat. And then I like slid and I said, what if I changed the word psychic to psychat? And I laughed so hard at myself. Um, so much joy at this design. And so I've had these stickers made again for a really long time, and people love them. I've actually got a number of them all over. When I've traveled, I'll pop them into different spaces and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I've rebranded this because when it comes to being a witch, right, we all have these beautiful psychic gifts. And when it comes to being a recovering witch, we're using these gifts on a regular basis, right, to make sure that we are on that path. At the end of the day, each and every one of these designs that I've created is my way of saying we get to tell our own story, right? And I've got to let you in on something, that this store has not just been created to build out this merchandise, right? Proceeds from the store are going to go directly towards building the Sovereign Phoenix. This is the nonprofit religious fellowship, spiritual fellowship that I have been creating over the past couple of months that I intend on launching next month. That's like I'm aiming for my own 6-year recovery date. And the Sovereign Phoenix is not just an idea, it's this spiritual home for witches in recovery. It's a fellowship where sobriety is honored as sacred, where magic is practiced as like soul work, as this deep, intensive, beautiful soul work, and where each and every one of us can rise from the ashes of trauma, of addiction, of codependency, of self-harm, of self-abuse, whatever it may be. Right? Because at the end of the day, recovery is not just from substance use, right? I believe if we aren't doing the deeper work in other areas of recovery, then we may find ourselves. So if we can get this ahead of time, right? So every single shirt, every tote bag, every mug, every sweatshirt, it's visibility, it's proof that witches in recovery exist, and then we're not hiding anymore. I knew that this month was the right time, and Spirit made sure it was very intentional, right? This month, I have seen more folks share their stories, share their history, out there truly trying to make a difference in the world when it comes to sharing their own recovery. This month is about bringing all of these stories into the light. And I want to be very clear that my story isn't just that I stopped drinking, that I stopped performing, that I stopped masking. This story is that I did all of those things and I embraced the magic inside, the witch inside me while I did it. For me, recovery and witchcraft are not separate. Recovery is an alchemical process. It is shadow work. It is transmutation. It is the phoenix rising from the ashes. And that's why tying this launch to the recovery month felt so incredibly right. It's another way of saying we're healing and we're doing it our own fucking damn way. I've already seen a handful of folks share a lot of excitement about getting their products in the mail, right? So it like literally just launched just like in the last couple of days. And so everything is, print on demand, right? That saves making sure that we have no waste or anything of that nature. And so it takes a little bit. So I've had little conversations and chats about people excited. That shows me that there's a lot of joy and pride in that this work matters, that what I'm offering is something that folks deeply desire to have. And this is just the beginning. There are 4 different, I think, products, 4 or 5 different products. I think we've got, what is it, 5 or 6 different designs. My hope is to start to create more designs that are tied to the Wheel of the Year, maybe find some other artists that want to donate some of their designs that they've created that can really reflect this path of recovery in witchcraft, right? This matters right now because culturally speaking, we're in a moment where recovery is being spoken of more often. Witchcraft is rising in visibility, but witches in recovery are still being asked or still feeling like they need to remain in the closet. Too often we're being told, asked, or maybe even implied that we need to hide parts of ourselves. Our sobriety needs to be hidden in witchcraft spaces, our witchcraft in recovery spaces. And this entire movement is my way of saying no more hiding. Our sobriety is sacred. Our recovery is sacred. Our witchcraft is sacred. And when all of these meet, the result is nothing short of magical. So yes, it's a store, my dear friends, but it's also a banner and a declaration and a prayer that has been stitched on, ironed on, whatever, sublimated on, the cotton, plastic. Yeah. So we're here, we're sober, we're in recovery, we're witches, and we're fucking damn proud of it. I hope you take a look at the store. Let me know what you like. Maybe even shout out, order something, and put a hashtag sober witch life on it so that I can take a look. Until next time, my dear friends, much love from